Okay, it looks like we're live now, so clock is ticking. If you're in here and you're watching me today, I really appreciate it. This is again unannounced. I am testing out the live video feature here on Substack because it was recommended to me. And I am going to start doing these lives twice per week. They'll probably be pretty short. I'm thinking like 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm playing it by ear. That's often how I kind of figure these things out. So thank you for being with me here today. I do see we have a few people hopping in, so it makes me a little bit nervous. I believe this will be recorded later, so I'll be able to share it and you'll be able to rewatch it. For this short live, the short test live, I'm going to briefly touch on the topic of domain authority or authority scores. Because this question came up today with one of my clients, because I use primarily Ahrefs currently to get a quick score of a law firm's website and see what their authority score is, how much traffic they're getting, which keywords they're ranking for. And so I use Ahrefs, which has its own proprietary system for generating a domain rating, I believe is what they call it. And it's important to keep in mind that all of these tools, Ahrefs, SEMrush, Moz, I'm sure there are a few others that I'm not thinking of, have their own proprietary tools and systems for generating the scores in their dashboards. And so in Ahrefs, a domain rating for a website might be 8, where SEMrush gives it an authority score, their version of the domain rating, a 23. And so what's what's always important to keep in mind with these scores is they just represent what each of those platforms believes is important in determining authority score domain ranking. Effectively, all these tools are just trying to figure out, like, how does Google determine how authoritative a site is? And that's, they build their authority score, domain rating, whatever. And then they sell subscriptions to their platform, and you can see what your website's domain rating authority score is on these tools, right? So it's proprietary and it's a guess. Like, none of these platforms know, like, this is what Google is looking at. And so what matters more than like the number and how high it is and how low it is how it compares to your competitors. So whenever you, whatever tool you have, Ahrefs, SEMrush, open it up, look at your domain rating, your domain and authority score, then check that against your next biggest competitor. And then you can compare authority scores and see what's the delta between us and our competitor. And use that to help make your decisions. Like, are the strategies we're using to enhance our authority online working? Yes or no? And that's the other part of it that we have to keep in mind is we use these scores to assess our performance on a continuum. So if we hire an SEO company in July 2025, and they start doing whatever they're doing with our website, we want to use the domain rating to see, like, how does that change between July 2025 and February 2026? Is there an increase? Then it's possible what the SEO company doing is working, or something on the marketing team is doing or working. But I think this is where we need to start, getting specific about what we're doing and what tools we're using to measure also. I recently found out, kind of preparing for this live and answering my own questions, that Ahrefs develops their domain rating score primarily based on your backlink profile, where SEMrush combines your backlink profile, behavior metrics, like how people, navigate through your site, how they use your site, and also your keyword rankings or organic visibility. So apparently, SEMrush has more factors that go into the authority score it assigns your business. Whereas like Ahrefs is mostly based on backlinks. So let's say you hire an SEO company and say, We want you to rebuild our website. We want you to update our pages. We want you to write new pages, improve internal linking, all that stuff. We want you to do a whole bunch of work, but we want you to do it on our site. Don't do backlinks. We give up backlinks. And if you're using a Ahrefs to track your domain rating or authority score, which is mostly backlink based, then you're probably not going to see much movement in your Ahrefs score as the SEO company works on your site. And so it's interesting to think about. If you tell an SEO company, we'll do everything except backlinks, and then you monitor them with a tool that primarily assesses domain rating based on your backlink profile, there's a mismatch there. And you're probably not going to give the SEO company proper credit for the improvements they made for your site. Of course, though, SEO companies will also, have a variety of these tracking tools that they use and compare sites and compare domain ratings. So they'll probably come prepared with information. Hey, this is what SEMrush says. Ahrefs doesn't show much movement, but here's all this growth happening in your authority score on SEMrush. For this live, I primarily just talked about those two tools. I also like to use Bright Local, which doesn't really have an authority score, but I really like their local search grid. But again, like these other tools, Bright Local uses a proprietary, method of querying Data's search API to determine what your local grid, looks like. And hopefully, I don't know if I can use a visual here. Maybe I'll have to print stuff out and hold it. I don't know. But, I'm talking about when an SEO company shows you a map with all these orange, red, or green dots on it, 1, 2, 3, 10 plus, to show you how your business ranks in the local map pack. That's what I'm talking about. So Bright Local has its own proprietary system for querying Google's API to get back that data on how your business ranks. But what's interesting is it's also time dependent. You could run that same report back to back and see minor variations in the score. Or if you run them at different times of the day, you'll see huge variations in the score in terms of how your business ranks. And sometimes in a period where people are searching for attorneys less, like during holiday seasons or back to school periods when we would normally expect to see lead slowdowns. If you're suddenly see that you're ranking well over the Thanksgiving holiday or the Christmas holiday, your scores shoot to 1, that's actually maybe because the search traffic has decreased. So that's just a trend I've noticed. How you rank can vary depending on how much search traffic there is overall. So I don't know if anyone has more information on that. I'm gonna have to continue to do some research. So I'm keeping it's a live session short. If you weren't here at the very beginning, this is my very first test Substack live session. And so I'm actually going to come back online let me check my calendar, but I think Monday I'm going to do a second live session. Actually, let me pull up my calendar to give everyone a firm time and date. So yeah, on President's Day, at 3 p.m., I'm going to come on here, do another live broadcast. I am doing a deep dive into the announcement for ChatGPT ads this weekend. I talked to a few SEO companies this week about it. And I can tell you right now, it's not live yet. We're not showing ads yet. I don't believe anyone is, but it's announced, and there's a business manager account that you can create for yourself and your business. So I'm gonna spend the weekend reading up on it, getting what information I can. I'll come on here and do another live broadcast and share what I know about ChatGPT ads and how law firms could potentially use them. Thank you all so much, my tiny group of people who showed up to this unannounced Substack live, and I will see you guys on Monday.